Hello and welcome to this first look exploring session looking at Michaelmas Term by Thomas Middleton, dating somewhere between 1604 and 1607 for the children of Pauls. And yes, it's a reasonably chunky play in all sorts of different ways. We're going to go over this over 3 sessions to find out how it all holds together. Any things that we'd like to keep or things that might need to be tweaked for a modern production is as ever our primary question, but then random thoughts will come into people's heads and we'll go on a digression. People will look at the cute dog and ignore anything I'm saying, and it'll just all be chaos. But it'll be good chaos. So reading today, third term and Shortyard is
Mark Pajor in the Midwest United States.
Reading Cockstone and Country Wench is
Sarah Blake in Germany.
Reading Rearage is
me. I am here, and I'm just looking down because I'm toying with a new watch. I say new, it's old, but anyway, I'm Eric. I'm here.
This is not in any way product placement. We have not been paid for the demonstration of that technology or that product on the screen. We have no idea what it is. It's probably just some strange shiny object. Reading Salewood and Hellgill is
Rachel in Canada.
Reading Michaelmas and Lethe is
Aliki in Athens.
Reading Boy and Quomodo and Father is
Lois in London.
Reading Second Term and Mother Gruel is
Lynn in the northwestern United States with my faithful companion Scooter.
And
I like shiny objects.
Yeah, shiny objects are cool. Reading First Term Falselight and Drawer is
Alan in Suffolk.
And I'm not your host, Robert Crighton. I'm just here to top and tail and make sure everyone's keeping on the straight and narrow. Otherwise, I'm actually going to hand over to Eric and Sarah to keep everyone in line, and I'll be back at the end to find out if you enjoyed what you read. Ta-ta.
Off we go.
Well, I guess now we will begin with with the induction, because this play begins with a scene in London.
Enter Michaelmas.
Yeah.
Well, shall we just start?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Enter Michaelmas Term in a whitish cloak, new come up out of the country, a boy bringing his gown after him.
Boy.
Oh, here, sir.
Lay by my conscience. Give me that gown. That weed is for the country. We must be civil now and match our evil. Who first made civil black? He pleased the devil. So, now I know where I am, methinks. Already I grasp best part of the autumnian blessing in my contentious fathom. My hand is free from wronger and from wronged. I have fee. And what by sweat from the rough earth they draw is to enrich this silver harvest law. And so through wealthy variance and fat brawl, the barn is made but steward to the hall. Come they up thick enough?
Oh, like hops and harlots, sir.
Why dost thou couple them?
Oh, very aptly. For as the hop, well boiled, will make a man not stand upon his legs, so the harlot, in time, will leave a man no legs to stand upon.
Such another and be my heir. I have no child, yet I have wealth would redeem beggary. I think it be a curse both here and foreign. Where bags are fruitfulest, there the womb's most barren. The poor has all our children, we their wealth. Shall I be prodigal when my life cools? Make those my heirs whom I have beggared fools? 'Twould be wondrous. Rather beggar more. Thou shalt have heirs enow, thou keep'st a whore. And here comes kindred too, with no mean purses, yet strive to be still blessed with clients' curses.
Music plays and enter the other 3 terms, the first bringing in a fellow poor, which the other 2 advanceth, giving him rich apparel, a page, and a pander. He then goes out.
What subtlety have we here? A fellow shrugging for life's kind benefits, shift and heat, crept up in 3 terms, wrapped in silk and silver, so well appointed too, with page and pander. 'Twas a happy gale that blew him hither.
Thou father of the terms, hail to thee.
May much contention still keep with thee.
May many new fools come up and fee thee.
Let's let 'em pay dear enough that see thee.
And like asses use such men when their load's off. Turn 'em to graze again.
And may our wish have full effect, many a suit and much neglect.
And as it hath been often found that the client's cups come around.
Help your poor kinsman when you have got, you may drink deep, leave us the bottom.
Or when there is a lamb fallen in, take you the lamb, leave us the skin.
Your duty and regard hath moved us. Never till now we thought you loved us. Take comfort from our words, and make no doubt you shall have suits come 16 times about.
We
We
humbly,
humbly thank the patron of our
hopes.
hopes.
The patron of our hopes.
And the 3 other terms exit.
What a vassal appetite they gnaw on our reversions, and are proud coldly to taste our meats, which 8 returns serve in to us as courses. One day our writs like wild fowl fly abroad, and then return o'er cities, towns, and hills with clients like dried straws between their bills. And 'tis no few birds pick to build their neasts, no small money that keeps drabs and feasts. But, gentlemen, to spread myself open unto you, in cheaper terms I salute you, for ours have but 6 penny fees all year long, yet we dispatch you in 2 hours without demur. Your suits hang not long here after candles be lighted. Why, we call this play by such a dear and chargeable title, Michaelmas Term. No, it consents happily to our purpose, though perhaps faintly to the interpretation of many, for he that expects any great quarrels in law to be handled here will be fondly deceived. This only presents those familiar accidents which happen in town in the circumference of those 6 weeks whereof Michaelmas Term is lord. Sat sapienti. I hope there's no fools in the house.
And Michaelmas exits with the boy.
Thus endeth the induction. I kind of want to do a hands up of who got that and who didn't. But I'm like, yeah.
If you do a hands up of who didn't get it, I'm guessing everybody might. Well, I would certainly be raising my hand because I have no clue what just happened.
Yeah. Aliki has thoughts.
I think I do, because I did read a little bit ahead yesterday. So Michaelmas Term and the other 2 terms are the 3 periods in which law cases happen. Michaelmas Term being the most profitable one. And these allegorical characters, he's saying, oh, goody, I'm starting now. Lots of lawyers making lots of money over lots of idiots bringing cases to law. And you 2 other terms, yeah, you can have my leavings because all of the really good money making is here. He's sort of both a lawyer and the embodiment of Michaelmas Term, I think. That's how I took it.
Yeah, well, I feel like this could be paired with club law in terms of as a play, just because it is about law and lawyers and how the world works for them. But yeah, I don't know. Would you? Obviously, we've not got into the play yet, but I mean, would you need a sort of coming into it without knowing stuff? Would you need a knowledge of what Michaelmas Term is? Do you think, or sort of? Just because if you perform this now, it would be like some of the jokes I feel go over the head.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of can get what it's saying when we talk about it. If you know what Michaelmas Term is, and the terms where the law sessions. The beginning is pretty clear. I basically put aside my conscience, or whatever it is. That's pretty clear. And put on my gown, my judge's robe. And that's sort of, it's black like the devil. So, I mean, it's obviously, satire about the law. But yeah, it's so much of the context is period dependent.
Yeah. Alan and then Mark.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he's shown to be a judge. I think he's an advocate. And I mean, to face it, the story of lawyers on the make is almost eternal. A very short gloss in the program note of explaining the 4 terms of the legal law year as they stood at that time would be relatively simple to organise, I would have thought.
Yeah. Mark had thoughts.
Yeah, I was gonna say I only had a vague sense for what Michaelmas is. I was like, that's like some holiday that no one I know cares about anymore, right? I had to Google it to make sure. So yeah, that and the term part. Yeah, and then I on the page is like first term, second term, third term. Is this? Yeah, I couldn't tell for sure at first whether it was like a. Whether those were like real things, like, oh, in the British legal system there's a person who's a term, and I was like, I don't think so, but I don't know, because partly because I'm not English, but partly because just like the intricacies of 1600s English law are not something that was a big part of my studies.
Yeah. I think Lois had thoughts, then Aliki.
Well, my main thought was just cut. I mean, perhaps have a prologue consisting of why we call this play by such a dear and chargeable title, Michaelmas Term. No, go on from there. I mean, it doesn't seem to me that you could possibly do the dumb show and then kind of try to explain it, but even that, it's unintelligible without quite a bit of explanation.
Yeah. I guess we should move on, but also kind of there's a part of me going, well, you could ignore the induction if you want, but then it might actually be fun to do it. I don't know, depending on how you do it. Aliki.
I think you could do some kind of business with a great big calendar and assign the terms their time of year that way, and a little bit of a banner, the court is open now kind of thing, if you wanted to stage it. Well, I enjoyed it. Other actors might enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, I guess also it depends on how you do it, and we're still at the beginning, so yeah. Mark.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, maybe you could just replace not even just remove it, but replace it with something else that might work better for a modern audience, but still kind of set the stage. But what that would be, or whether that would make sense, I don't know yet, since we just started.
Yeah. Well, we should probably move on. Act 1, Scene 1.
Enter at one door Master Rearage meeting Salewood.
What? Master Rearage?
Master Salewood? Exceedingly well met in town. Comes your father up this term?
Why, he was here 3 days before the Exchequer gaped.
Fie, such an early termer.
He's not to be spoke withal. I dare not ask him blessing till the last of November.
Why, there are doctors enow in town, Will Stringer. Oh, wait, no, sorry, the wrong bit. Yeah, where are we at? Yes, and how looks thy little venturing cousin?
Faith, like a lute that has all the strings broke. Nobody will meddle with her.
Why, there are doctors enow in town that will string her again and make her sound as sweet as ere she did. Is she not married yet?
She has no luck. Some may better steal a horse than others look on. I have known a virgin of 5 bastards wedded, faith. When all's done, we must fame to many her in the north, I'm afraid.
But she will pass so, think you?
Anything that is warm enough is good enough for them. So it come in the likeness. Though the devil be in it, they'll venture the firing.
They're worthy spirits of faith. Have you heard the news?
Not yet.
Mistress Difficult is newly fallen a widow.
Say true. Is Master Difficult, the lawyer, dead?
Easily dead, sir.
Pray, when died he?
What questions when should the lawyer die? But in the vacation, he has no leisure to die in the term time. Besides, the noise there would fetch him again.
Knew you the nature of his disease?
Faith, some say he died of an old grief he had. The vacation was 14 weeks long.
And very likely. I knew 'twould kill him at last. 'Twas trolled him a long time. He was one of those that would fain have brought in the heresy of a 5th term, often crying with a loud voice, "Why should we lose Bartholomew week?"
He savors. Stop your nose. No more of him.
And enter Cockstone, who meets Easy, also entering. And as I am Cockstone, I will change my voice. Young Master Easy, let me salute you, sir. When came you? Master Easy, where are you?
Who's playing easy?
It's Lynn, I think.
Has not been
it? No.
assigned.
Oh, has it not been
Day
assigned?
one, it has not been assigned.
I'll
Yeah.
take it, but that's not.
Yes, I apologise. You're absolutely right. I have forgotten to give out Easy. It's a minor role who says nothing at all. Yeah, Lynn, go for it until you can't.
Okay. I've been in my horse since Master Cockstone.
You seldom visit London, Master Easy, but now your father's dead, 'tis your only course. Here's gallants of all sizes, of all lasts. Here you may fit your foot, make choice of those who your affection may rejoice in.
You've easily possessed me. I am free. Let those live hinds that know not liberty.
And Easy and Cockstone go to Salewood and Rearage. Master Rearage!
Good Master Salewood, I am proud of your society.
What gentleman might that be?
One Master Easy has good land in Essex, a fair, free-breasted gentleman, somewhat too open. Bad in man, worse in woman, the gentry fault at first. Yet he is yet fresh and wants the city powdering. But what news? Is yet a match twixt Master Quomodo's, the rich draper's daughter, and yourself?
Faith, sir, I'm wildly rivaled.
Wildly? By whom?
It's wait a sec. One Andrew Lethe crept to Little Orb, and now so proud that he forgets all storms. One that ne'er wore apparel, but like ditches, 'twas cast before he had it. Now shines bright in rich embroideries. Him Master Quomodo affects, the daughter him, the mother only me. I rest most doubtful, my side being weakest.
Yet the mother's side being surer than the father's, it may prove men plead for money best, women for love.
Slip, Master Quomodo.
How then? Afraid of a woolen draper?
He warned me his house, and I hate he should see me abroad.
And they retire as Quomodo enters with his two spirits, Shortyard and Falselight.
Oh, my two spirits, Shortyard and Falselight, you that have so enriched me. I have industry for you both.
And do you please us best, sir?
Wealthy employment.
You make me itch, sir.
You, Falselight, as I have directed you,
I'm nimble.
go make my coarse commodities look sleek, with subtle art beguile the honest eye. Be near to my trap window, cunning Falselight.
I never failed it yet.
I know thou didst not.
And Falselight exits.
But now to thee, my true and secret Shortyard, whom I dare trust e'en with my wife. Thou ne'er didst mistress harm, but master good. There are too few of thy name, gentlemen, and that we feel, but citizens abundant. I have a task for thee, my pregnant spirit, to exercise thy pointed wits upon.
Give it me, for I thirst.
Thine ear shall drink it. Know then, I have not spent this long vacation only for pleasure's sake. Give me the man who, out of recreation, culls advantage, dives into seasons, never walks but thinks, ne'er rides but plots. My journey was toward Essex,
Most true.
where I have seen what I desire.
A woman?
A woman. I, yet beneath her, that which she often treads on, yet commends her. Land. Fair, neat land.
What is the mark you shoot at?
Why, the fairest to cleave the heir in twain, I mean his title, to murder his estate, stifle his right in some detested prison. There are means and ways enow to hook in gentry, besides our deadly enmity, which thus stands. They're busy about our wives, we about their lands.
Your revenge is more glorious. To be a cuckold is but for one life, when land remains to you, your heir or wife.
Ah, sirrah, do we sting 'em. This fresh gallant rode newly up before me,
I beseech his name.
young Master Easy.
Easy. It may fall right.
I have inquired his haunt. Stay. Aye, that's he.
Happily.
Observe, take surely note of him. He's fresh and free. Shift thyself speedily into the shape of gallantry. I'll swell thy purse with angels. Keep foot by foot with him. Outdare his expenses. Flatter, dice, and brothel to him. Give him a sweet taste of sensuality. Train him to every wasteful sin, that he may quickly need health, but especially money. Ravish him with a dame or two. Be his bawd for once, I'll be thine forever. Drink drunk with him. Creep into bed to him. Kiss him and undo him, my sweet spirit.
Let your care dwell in me, soon shall it shine. What subtleties in man that is not mine?
Oh, my most cheerful spirit. Go, dispatch.
Exit Shortyard.
Gentry is the chief fish we tradesmen catch.
And exit Quomodo.
What's here?
Oh, they are bills for chambers.
Against St. Andrews, at a painter's house, there's a fair chamber ready furnished to be let. The house not only endued with a new fashion forepart, but, which is more convenient for a gentleman, with a provident back door.
Why, here's virtue still. I like that thing that's necessary as well as pleasant.
Enter Lethe, who remains behind reading the bills. What news in yonder paper?
I seek you for news. There's for you.
Who's this? In the name of the Black Angels? Andrew Gruel?
No, Andrew Lethe.
Lethe?
That's forgot his father's name, poor Walter Gruel, that begot him, fed him, and brought him up.
Not hither.
No, 'twas from his thoughts he brought him up below.
But does he pass for Lethe?
Amongst strange eyes that no more know him than he knows himself. That's nothing now for Master Andrew Lethe, gentleman of most received parts, forgetfulness, lust, impudence, and falsehood, and one especial courtly quality, to wit no wit at all. I am his rival for Quomodo's daughter, but he knows it not.
Has spied us o'er his paper?
Oh, that's a warning to make our duties ready.
Salute him. Hang him.
Wish his health a while. He'll be laid shortly. Let him gorge venison for a time. Our doctors will bring to him to dry mutton. Seem respective to make his pride like a toad with dew.
Lethe comes forward.
Master Lethe.
Sweet Master Lethe.
Gentlemen, your pardon, I remember you not.
Why, we supped with you last night, sir.
I'll cry you mercy, it's so long ago. I'd quite forgot you. I must be forgiven. Acquaintance, dear society, suits and things do so flow to me that, had I not the better memory, 'twould be a wonder I should know myself. I have received of many gifts, so a night whom I forgot ere morning, meeting the men, I wish them to remember me again. They do so, then if I forget again, I know what helped before. That will help them. This is my course. For memory, I've been told 20 preserves. The best I find is gold. I truly, are you not knights yet, gentlemen?
Not yet.
No? That must be looked into. 'Tis your own fault. I have some store of venison. Where shall we devour it, gentlemen?
The horn were a fit place.
For venison fit, the horn having chased it, at the horn will... Rhyme to that?
Taste it.
Waste it.
Past it.
That's the true rhyme, indeed. We hunt our venison twice. I tell you, first out at the park, next out at the valley.
First dogs take pains to make it fit for men, then men take pains to make it fit for dogs.
Right.
Why, this is kindness, a kind gallant you, and love to give the dogs more than their due. Oh, we shall attend you, sir.
I pray do so.
The horn.
Easily remembered that, you know.
I'm thinking we
And
should
they
pause
all
here because a
accept-
lot has happened, and like Lethe has a really, really long speech before after this, so and let Aliki a chance to breathe before, maybe I don't know. Any thoughts so far? Sorry, Aliki. Lynn.
Just I probably most people in this room know, but for our vast audience at home, Lethe is one of the rivers in the underworld. It's the river of forgetfulness. You drink from Lethe and you forget who you were in life, and in some models of the universe in classical times, reincarnation was a thing. So you drink from Lethe, and then when you go back to Earth, you don't remember who you were. But Lethe, forgetfulness.
Yeah. Lois. You're muted. Sorry.
You're still muted.
Come on.
There you go.
Andrew probably means that he's a Scot. I mean, St. Andrew is the patron saint of Scotland, and I think characters named Andrew are nearly always Scots.
Yeah, almost always.
And this is early in James's reign, and so Scots who've come to London are, caricatured a lot. So I don't know if anybody wants to do a Scots accent. This is your chance. Otherwise,
But it's not written like a Scottish accent, and I do
No,
like
it's
how it
not.
starts with like the entire scene basically starts off with like people gossiping about other people, so you don't even know who you know that they kind of are. They start off with Mistress Difficult, who's now a widow Difficult, I guess. And I just like how it kind of evolves from there. And you have this moment of sort of them gossiping about mutual friends and how basically lawyers die when they're not making money, which is an interesting point, I guess. Any other thoughts, Lynn?
I want to talk about the names, or ask about the names. Should we do that before or after Lethe's monologue? Like, I know rearage is like a legal term, and like Cockstone must be something, and that if somebody can elucidate that would be interested. Like rearage, what is that in legal language?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Something unpaid or overdue, says Google.
See, we need Helen for this. Helen would know.
Ooh.
But Helen
Arrears.
Yeah, okay.
That makes sense. Okay, Aliki, you ready for your monologue, for your close-up?
But now unto my present business. The daughter yields, and Quomodo consents. Only my mistress Quomodo, her mother, without regard, runs full against me, and sticks hard. Is there no law for a woman that will run upon a man at her own apperel? Why should she not consent, knowing my state, my sudden fortunes? I can command a custard and other bake meats, death of sturgeon. I could keep house with nothing. What friends have I? How well am I beloved? I in quite throughout the scullery. Not consent? 'Tis e'en as I have writ, I'll be hanged. And she love me not herself, and would rather preserve me as a private friend to her own pleasures, than any way advance her daughter upon me to beguile herself. And how have I relieved her in that point? Let me peruse this letter. Mistress Quomodo, or rather, as I hope ere the term end, Mother Quomodo, since only your consent keeps aloof, off, and hinders the copulation of your daughter, what may I think but that it is mere affection in you, doting upon some small inferior virtue of mine, to draw me in upon yourself? If these stand so, I have comfort for you. For this you may well assure yourself that, by the marriage of your daughter, I have the better means and opportunity to yourself, and without the least suspicion. This is moving stuff. That works best with a citizen's wife. But who shall I get to convey this now? My page I had lent forth. My panda I have employed about the country to look out some third sister, or entice some discontented gentlewoman from her husband, whom the laying out of my appetite shall maintain. I'll deal like an honourable gentleman. I'll be kind to women. That which I gather in the day, I'll put into their purses at night. You shall have no cause to rail at me. No, faith, I'll keep you in good fashion, ladies. No meaner men than knights shall ransom home your gowns and recover your smocks. I'll not dally with you. Some poor widow woman would come as a necessary board now.
And right on cue, enter Mother Gruel.
I see where fitly comes. My mother. Curse of poverty. Does she come up to shame me, to betray my birth and cast soil upon my new suit? Let her pass me. I'll take no notice of her. Scurvy Maricas here.
And it like your worship?
Then I must proudly venture it. To me, good woman.
I beseech one word with your worship.
Prithee be brief, then.
Pray, can your worship tell me of any tidings of one Andrew Gruel, a poor son of mine own?
I know a gallant gentleman of the name, one Master Andrew Gruel, and well received amongst ladies.
That's not he, then. He is no gentleman that I mean.
Good woman, if he be a Gruel, he's a gentleman in the mornings. That's a gentleman at first. You cannot tell me.
No, truly, his father was an honest, upright tooth-drawer.
Oh, my teeth.
And it pleased your worship, I have made a sore journey out, all this vacant time, to come up and see my son Andrew. Poor Walter Gruel, his father, has laid his life and left me a lone woman. I have not one husband in all the world. Therefore my coming up is for relief, and it like your worship, hoping that my son Andrew is in some place about the kitchen.
Kitchen?
Or a serving man to some knight of worship.
Oh, let me not endure her. Know you not me, good woman?
Alas, and it please your worship, I never saw such a glorious suit since the hour I was christened.
Good, she knows me not. My glory does disguise me. Beside my poorer name being drenched in Lethe, she'll hardly understand me. What a fresh air can do. I employ her as a private drudge. to pass my letters and secure my lust, and ne'er be noted mine, to shame my blood, and drop my staining birth upon my raiment. Faith, good woman, you will hardly get to the speech of Master Andrew, I tell you.
Oh, marry, hang him. And it like your worship, I have known the day when nobody cared to speak to him.
You must take heed how you speak ill of him, I can tell you. Now he is so employed.
Employed? For what?
For his behavior, wisdom, and other virtues.
He, virtues. No, 'tis well known his father was too poor a man to bring him up to any virtues. He can scarce write and read.
He's the better regarded for that amongst courtiers, for that's but a needy quality.
If it be so, then he'll be great shortly, for he has no good parts about him.
Well, good woman, or good mother, or what you will.
Alack the day, I know your worship scorns to call me mother. 'Tis not a thing fit for your worship indeed, such a simple old woman as I am.
In pity of thy long journey, there's sixpence British. Tend upon me, I have business for you.
Well, I'll wait upon your worship.
To bowl off, at least.
I am a clean old woman, and it like your worship.
It goes not by cleanness here. Good woman, if you were fouler, so you were braver, you might come nearer.
Exit
Nay.
Lethe.
Oh, nay, and that be the fashion. I hope I shall get it shortly. There's no woman so old but she may learn. And as an old lady delights in a younger page or monkey, so there are young courtiers will be hungry upon an old woman, I warrant you.
And exit Mother Gruel.
On that note, the scene ends. That was Act 1, Scene 1. It's quite, aside from it's quite a long scene and quite a build up to Andrew Lethe, who is basically Andrew Gruel, but he's pretending not to be. Yeah.
Right.
Or is he pretending, or is he not? Discuss. To have forgotten his roots. I don't think he has.
He certainly remembers that that's his mother, at least
Yeah.
for part of the scene, presumably all of it.
Yeah. I think it's a joke that he's pretended to forget, and that's why they call him Lethe.
Yeah. Maybe he just changed his name by deed poll or something and just went like, I have no, I do not know this woman. She's so embarrassing or something. I do like how Mother Gruel has these moments of like, yeah, he can't read or write. What on earth is he gonna do in his life?
I love his response to that.
Yeah. Lois, you're muted.
Yeah, I think I mean he's come up in the world. He seems to have gotten a lot of money from somewhere. Again, this could be a reference to Scots somehow going to court or getting favors under the new regime. But as a result, he just wants to forget his whole past. I mean, he is, as far as he's concerned, a completely different person. But he is also, he's got the idea, and I think this is said elsewhere, that courtiers have short memories, that they never remember, especially anything nice that's done to them, and they never thank people and so on. I mean, it's all part of that sort of satire.
Yeah, I imagine also you kind of conveniently forget your debts. Maybe. Any thoughts on well, it's a very busy scene. I mean, Lynn, yeah.
Yeah, so now does Lethe say something about she's courting his offstage daughter, and Easy is also
No, it's
it's
Rearage. Yeah.
Rearage,
Rearage and Andrew are courting the same woman, except Andrew is in with the daughter,
sure.
apparently.
Yeah, Quomodo and approves of Andrew, but Mistress Quomodo does not. She prefers Rearage because he's a gentleman. Well, I think they'll discuss that later. Yeah, and watch out for the various names. I mean, Shortyard, I think you can probably see as a dirty joke, and there's some references when people talk to him about. Well, that's why Quomodo quite likes him, because he can trust him around his wife and so on.
Yeah.
Sarah has thoughts. Sorry.
No, Lynn, if you have a point to make on the back of Lois's, go for it.
It's just the sort of nominal love plot. It's not falling out the way I would expect. Like the first person we hear from is the mother's favorite and not favored by the woman. I mean, how these stereotypically shake out is that the couple who are in love end up getting together, but it sounds, yeah. So I wonder how that's going to work out, whether the daughter's going to change her mind or whether she's going to marry yet a third person. I mean, neither of these people are particularly desirable. They're, mercenary and amoral.
Yeah, well, on that point, I think it's just worth flagging up, which we're probably all aware of anyway, but just for the listeners at home. He's written this kind of incredible letter, like so his lady love, is it Susan?
Yeah.
She is in love with him. The father, Quomodo, approves. The mother does not approve. So in his wisdom, he's decided to write a letter to the mother saying, "Oh, I guess you don't approve because you want me for yourself. But don't worry, madam. Once I'm married to your daughter, it'll be much easier for me to come and, visit you." And it's like, oh my God, if there was ever not a letter you should be writing to your prospective mother-in-law who disapproves of you, this is it.
Yeah.
Unless he's right. Unless he's not
true.
Yeah.
He could be right.
No, do not press send.
Yeah, exactly.
This is why recall email was invented.
Yeah.
Aliki.
Well, the other two did say that he was stupid, and I think he is, because he's decided to play this ridiculous stratagem with his own mother, who at some point is going to recognize him.
Yeah. But I do like how there's this whole thing of, but also I feel like we have to note that there are letters. It's more than one letter, isn't it? Because Rearage finds bills of chamber or something, and then Lethe reveals this letter. So I don't know how many, like, I feel like there are stage directions missing here that are kind of for props that could be used. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Lois has.
Yeah, there's probably paper all over the place because there usually are references to legal bonds and so on, be a paper, just the significance of all these papers, which are probably legal. I think, in fact, Andrew was actually reading something when he first appears, so he can't be completely illiterate.
Yeah, also because his mother says that, he can't read or write, but then he reads the letter, so maybe he didn't, maybe he got the scrivener to write it, like Rafe Royster Doyster. Lynn?
No, I don't think when she says he scarcely knows how, I think she means he can read and write, but just barely. He's just not a very fluent writer or reader. I don't think he's completely illiterate. That was my take on that one.
Yeah. Well, it could also be the thing of, writing there's a lot of places where, a letter is presented, but it's not really written or punctuated properly or read properly. So, yeah, as we found out last week, I don't know, maybe not. But yeah, I feel like you'd have to work out what props are on and like who's the sort of social stations of each character, depending on if you're going to do it in modern dress versus period dress. I don't know. Because period dress, I imagine, would be more distinctive, whereas, I mean, I don't know. I mean, as in distinguishing between the classes, whereas I don't know how you would do it for modern dress, sort of. I don't know. Anyway, discuss if you have thoughts on this, or you people listening / watching at home, please send us a postcard. And we should probably move on to the next scene, Act 1, Scene 2.
Enter Dick Hellgill and Country Wench.
Come, leave your puling and sighing.
Beshrew you now! Why did you entice me from my father?
Why, to thy better advancement. Wouldst thou, pretty, beautiful, juicy squaw, live in a poor thrummed house in the country in such servile habiliments, and may well pass for a gentlewoman in the city? Does not 500 or so do so, thinkest thou? And with worse faces? Oh, now in these latter days, the jewel reigning, 'tis an age for cloven creatures. But why sad now? Yet indeed 'tis the fashion of any courtesan to be seasick in the first voyage, but at the next she proclaims open wars, like a beaten soldier. Why, Northamptonshire lass, dost dream of virginity now? Remember a loose-bodied gown, wench, and let it go. Wires and tires, bents and bums, felts and falls, that shall deceive the world. That gentlewoman indeed shall not be known from others. I have a master, to whom I must prefer thee after the aforesaid deckoning. Lethe by name, a man of one most admired property. He can both love thee, and for thy better advancement be thy pander himself, an excellent spark of humility.
Well, heaven forgive you, you trained me up to it.
Why, I do acknowledge it, and I think you do a pleasure in it.
And if I should prove a harlot now, I should be bound to curse you.
Bound, nay, and you prove a harlot, you'll be loose enough.
If I had not a desire to go like a gentlewoman, you should be hanged ere you should get me to it, I warrant you.
Nay, that's certain, nor 1,000 more of you. I know you are all chaste enough till the one thing or another tempt you. Deny a satin gown, any you date now.
You know I have no power to do it, and that makes you so willful. For what woman is there such a beast that will deny anything that is good?
True, they will not, most dissembler.
No, and she bear a brave mind, she will not, I warrant you.
Why, therefore, take heart, faint not at all. Women ne'er rise but when they fall. Let a man break, he's gone blown up. A woman's breaking sets her up. Virginity is no city trade. You're out of the freedom when you're a maid. Down with the lattice, 'tis but thin. Let coarser beauties work within. Whom the light mocks, thou art fair and fresh. The gilded flies will light upon thy flesh.
Beshrew your sweet arguments, you have won.
How easily soft women are undone. So farewell, wholesome weeds, where treasure pants, and welcome silks, where lies disease and wants. Come, wench, now flow thy fortunes in to bless thee. I'll bring thee where thou shalt be taught to dress thee.
Oh, as soon as may be. I'm in a swoon till I be a gentlewoman, and you know what flesh is man's meat till it be dressed.
Oh, certain, no more. A woman.
And they both exit.
Thus endeth Act 1. Yeah. Lynn, and then I'll.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to take a shower after this session. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep, that's Middleton. Dirty joke every other line.
And
Which is
well, yeah,
weird,
and,
'cause
and
then, yeah.
and it's so cynical, which is also Middleton, right? I mean,
Alan, then Aliki. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting contrast. We've just had a very straightforward, short scene. And I almost wonder whether it was put into Lethe, the fact that the preceding scene was long and complex, and that was almost put in as a short riff to let the audience get the breath back, because we've seen the plot line of that scene too so many times. The guy bringing the country wench up to London to basically rent her out where he can get best results. And it's much more straightforward, and I just wonder if it's there for light relief.
Probably, but also in a very creepy way. In some ways. Aliki.
Well, I suspect that's where Lethe's fortune comes from then. He's a pimp. He told us he was sending somebody out to groom country wenches for the trafficking trade. And here we have one example.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess you go out there, you send your fellow out, he seduces this young woman, and then she has no choice because given the society she's in, since she can now not be married as a virgin, her only option is to go into the city and earn some money on her back. So yay. Yay, Lethe, yay, trafficking.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say something and then I forgot. So, yeah. I feel kind of sad that Country Wench does not get a name. I feel like she should. Any other thoughts on this act? I mean, also, the thing I was going to say earlier was basically, I find it weird that he wrote this and also Game of Chess, which is a very different animal altogether. Like, it's kind of, yeah. Although that has very creepy scenes in it as well. You've got like the whole sort of pawns and whatever stuff. But yeah. Lois.
Well, he wrote tons of stuff. He also wrote a lot of political and religious tracts and masques. He was extremely versatile. And I think one thing he really does like is allegory and situations that sort of fall into a kind of allegorical pattern.
Yeah. That is probably very true. We should probably move on. Act 2, Scene 1 then. Yeah.
Enter Rearage, Salewood, Lethe, Easy, and Shortyard, discovered a dice, boy attending.
Gentlemen, I sworn I'll change the room. Dice devils.
Sorry. You see, I'm patient, gentlemen.
Aye, the fiend's in it. Aye, you're patient. You put up all.
Set me, gentlemen.
An Essex gentleman, sir.
An unfortunate one, sir.
I'm bold to salute you, sir. You know not Master Alsop there?
Entirely well.
Indeed, sir.
He's second to my bosom.
I'll give you that comfort, sir. Then, sir, you must not want money as long as you're in town, sir.
No, sir.
I am bound in my love to him to see you furnished, and in that comfort I recover my salute again, sir.
Then I desire to be more dear unto you.
I had rather study be dear unto you. Boy, fill some wine. I knew not what fair impression I received at first, but I began to affect your society very speedily.
Oh, I count myself the happier.
To Master Alsop, sir, to whose remembrance I could love to drink till I were past remembrance.
I shall keep Christmas with him, sir, where your health shall likewise undoubtedly be remembered. And thereupon I pledge you, I would sue for your name, sir.
Your suit shall end in one term, sir. My name is Blastfield.
I'm Master Blastfield, your dear acquaintance.
Nay, come, will ye draw in, gentlemen? Set me.
Faith, I'm scattered.
Ah, sir, you shall not give out so meanly of yourself in my company for 1,000,000. Make such privy to your disgrace. You're a gentleman of fair fortunes. Keep me your reputation. Set 'em all. There's crowns for you.
And he gives him money.
Sir, you bind me infinitely in these courtesies.
You must always have a care of your reputation here in town, Master Easy. Although you ride down with nothing, it skills not.
I'm glad you tell me that yet. Then I am indifferent. Well, come, who throws? I set all these.
He places a bet.
My well said.
This same Master Lethe here begins to undo us again.
Ah, sir, I came not hither but to win.
And then you'll leave us, that's your fashion.
He's base that visits, not his friends.
But he's more base that carries out his winnings. None will do so but those that have base beginnings.
It is a thing in use, and ever was. I pass this time.
I wonder you should pass, and that you're suffered.
Tut, the dice are ours. Then wonder not at those that have most powers.
The devil and his angels.
Are these they? Welcome, dear angels. Where your cursed ne'er stay.
Here's luck.
Let's search him, gentlemen. I think he wears a smock.
I knew the time he wore not half a shirt, just like a pea.
No. How did he for the rest?
Faith, he compounded with a couple of napkins at Bammit, and so trussed up the lower parts.
'Twas a pretty shift in faith.
But Master Lethe has forgot that too.
A mischief on it to lose all. I could...
Pretends to hurt himself.
Nay, but good Master Easy, do not do yourself that tyranny, I beseech you. I must not have you alter your body now for the purge of a little money. You undo me, and you do.
'Twas all I brought up with me, I protest, Master Blastfield. All my rent next quarter.
Pox of money, talk not on't. I beseech you, what said I to you? Mass. I'm out of cash myself, too. Boy.
Anon, sir.
Run presently to Master Gum the Mercer, and will him to tell out 200 or 300 pound for me, or more, according as he is furnished. I'll visit him in the morning, say.
It shall be said, sir.
And the boy makes to go.
Do you hear, boy?
Yes, sir.
If Master Gum be not sufficiently ready, call upon Master Prophet the goldsmith.
It shall be done, sir.
And the boy makes to go.
Boy!
I knew I was not sent yet. Now is the time.
Let them both rest till another occasion. You shall not need to run so far as this time. Take one nigher hand. Go to Master Quomodo the draper, and will him to furnish me instantly.
Now I go, sir.
And exit the boy.
It seems you're well known, Master Blastfield, and your credit very spacious here in the city.
Master Easy, let a man bear himself portly. The horse sons will creep up to him in their bellies, and their wives at their backs. There's a kind of bold grace expected throughout all the parts of a gentleman. Then for your observances, a man must not so much as spit, but within line and fashion. I tell you what I have done. Sometimes I carry my water all London over, only to deliver it proudly at the Standard. And do I pass altogether unnoted, think you? No. A man can no sooner peep out his head, but there's a bow bent at him out of some watchtower or other.
So readily, sir?
You know a bow's quickly ready, though a gun be long a-charging, and will shoot 5 times to his once. Come, you shall bear yourself jovially. Take heed of setting your looks to your losses, but rather smile upon your ill luck, and invite him tomorrow to another breakfast of bones.
Nay, I'll forswear Dyson.
What? Peace, I am ashamed to hear you. Will you cease in the first loss? Show me one gentleman that e'er did it. Fie upon't! I must use you to company, I perceive. You'd be spoiled else. Forswear dice? I would your friends heard you in faith.
Nay, I was but in jest, sir.
I hope so. What would gentlemen say of you? There goes a goal that keeps his money. I would not have such a report go on you for the world, as long as you are in my company. Why, man, fortune alters in a minute. I had known those have recovered so much in an hour. Their purses were never sick after.
Oh, worse than consumption of the liver, consumption of the patrimony.
How now? Mark their humors, Master Easy.
Forgive me, my posterity yet ungotten.
There's a penitent maudlin dicer.
Few know the sweets that plain life allows, vile sunlit surfeits of his father's brows.
Ha ha ha! Laugh at him, Master Easy. Ha 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 ha!
Ha 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 ha!
I'll be damned, and these not the bones of some queen that cozened me in her life, and now consumes me after her death.
That's the true, wicked, blasphemous, and soul-shuddering dicer that will curse you all service time and attribute his ill luck always to one drab or other.
Enter Hellgill.
Dick Hellgill, the happy news.
I have her for you, sir.
Peace. What is she?
Young, beautiful, and plump. A delicate piece of sin.
Of what parentage?
Oh, a gentlewoman of a great house.
Fie, fie.
She's newly come out of a barn, yet too good for a tooth drawer's son.
Is she wife or maid?
That which is daintiest. Maid.
I'd rather she'd been wife.
A wife, sir, why?
Oh, adultery is a great deal sweeter in my mind.
Diseases gnaw thy bones. I think she has deserved to be a wife, sir.
That will move well.
Her firstlings shall be mine. Swine look but for the husks, the meat be thine.
Into the
how-
boy.
How now, boy?
Master Quomodo takes your worship's greetings exceedingly kindly, and in his commendations returns this answer, that your worship shall not be so apt to receive it as he willing to lend it.
Why, we thank him, i'faith.
Growth. And you had reason to thank him, sir. It was a very friendly answer.
A gentleman that keeps his days even here in the city, as I myself watch to do, shall have many of those answers in a 12-month, Master Easy.
I promise you, sir, I admire your carriage and begin to hold a more reverent respect of you.
Not so, I beseech you. I give my friends leave to be inward with me. Will you walk, gentlemen?
Where for you? Present her with this jewel, my first token.
Gives jewel to Hellgill. Enter draw.
Certain countrymen without inquiring for Master Rearage and Master Salewood.
Tenants?
Thou revivest us, rascal.
When's our next meeting, gentlemen?
Tomorrow night. This gentleman by me invites you all. Do you not, Master Easy?
Freely, sir.
We do embrace your love. A pure, fresh gull.
Thus make you men at parting dutiful, and rest beholding to you, 'tis the slight to be remembered when you're out of sight.
A pretty virtue.
And they all exit.
There are so many things going on in this scene, and I'm not sure where to start. I mean, like the sort of Act 1, Scene 1 was busy because of all the characters and stuff, but then this is setting up a lot of stuff for later, so it's kind of, yeah, what's going on? I do not know where to begin. Any thoughts before we move on to Act 2, Scene 2? Because I don't think it's
Okay, so
not very long, so yeah. Aliki.
Okay, so there's a lot of tavern business, there's dicing, there's drinking, there's a boy bringing the drink and carrying messages. Somebody runs out of money and sends to borrow some. I don't know, is there that much going on?
No, I mean, like, sort of in the, they've set up the country wench and sort of, I don't know if the country wench is sort of the woman that I think Salewood or Shortyard is talking about, so it's kind of, I feel like they're trying to get one up on some of the other characters, but I can't quite aside from the fact that Lethe is cheating at cards. So it seems.
Dice.
Dice, yes. He's probably marked the dice or weighted the dice somehow. Yeah. So Lois, then Sarah.
Well, I think what's going on, I mean, it's an elaborate ploy to ruin Easy, isn't it? I mean, Shortyard is pretending to be his best friend and lures him to stake everything he's got. And then he tells him that there's no problem because he's such a so well respected in London that everybody's quite willing to bankroll him anyway. Then he demonstrates this by sending to Quomodo, who supposedly sends a reply, yes, I'll lend you anything you need. This is all set up so that Easy will just keep letting more and more money go, thinking, oh, well, there's always going to be more. And of course, he's going to find out that there isn't.
Yeah, of course. Sarah, then Lynn.
Yes, I mean, if you remember, Shortyard is the servant of or the spirit of Quomodo, and Quomodo doesn't want Easy to marry his daughter. He wants Lethe to marry his daughter.
It's not Quomodo, it's Shortyard. In fact, no, it's Rearsby. Rearage. Yeah.
Oh, is Rearage the suitor?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Shortyard and Quomodo have set this whole thing up.
Okay.
So.
Right. Yeah. So it's like he's basically he's pretending to be this guy in order to kind of run him down, I think.
He wants Easy's lands.
Yes,
Is that it?
exactly.
What's
That's
the
right.
long
That's the guy he was talking about, like
Yeah.
when he was saying how he was gonna, yes,
Yeah.
murder his lands.
Oh.
But then Hellgill comes in. Hellgill's the guy who was seducing the country wench in the previous scene, and this is him basically coming back to his boss, the pimp Lethe, and saying, I've got a girl for you. I found a girl for you to take as your. Well, actually, I don't know if he's a pimp. I mean, it's a good suggestion that this is how he makes his money. But actually, I got the impression more that Hellgill was saying he was the pimp, almost he was the pander, and he was saying I found a wench for you, to be your mistress. So that they were like, so the two conversations were going on at the same time.
Yeah. Lynn, I think, then Alan.
Yeah, my question was like, what is the long game? And Lois answered that he's eventually Easy is going to be compelled to sign over his property, which is a long-term investment that it will continue to generate rents. So once you have that, once you have the ability to collect the rent because he's sold you the land, then you have permanent income. So that's the long game.
Alan.
That was the question.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got the feeling that Hellgill is actually recruiting rather than seducing the country wench. I'm not sure that he personally was getting anything out of it, other than possibly money from Lethe. But I mean, we've seen a number of scenes like this in a number of plays that we've done over the time of, the country lad who's come up, who's got some assets and falls among the London ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah.
Again, nothing changes.
Yeah, true that. Aliki.
So my reason for thinking Lethe is a pimp is that in Hellgill's discussion with the country wench, he said that he had a master, Lethe by name. He can both love thee and for thy better advancement be thy pander himself.
Yeah.
Which is a classic pimp setup.
Yeah. So she's getting passed up the line, basically.
She's getting passed up the line. And he's said to counter Alan's suggestion that he's not taking anything himself. He says to Lethe something along the lines of, I had the first taste.
Or first
the husk for the hog and then the sweet meat for the... Yeah.
Yeah, well, also, because that's how he persuades her. He's like, well, this is like, you need to get rid of your virginity now so that you can come to the...
Oh, no.
yeah.
No.
I
I thought Sarah was frozen there for a second. I lost her sound.
You froze for a sec. So on the last bit, get rid of your virginity now, and then the camera froze.
Okay, so yes, exactly. Get rid of your virginity now with me, and then you can go to the city and become a courtesan and, have a fabulous life and have lots of silk gowns. So yeah, I think yeah, she's being passed up. I have a question actually for those in the room who might know. Are dice referred to as bones because they were made of bone, because they were made of ivory or animal bone, or yeah? That's what that was. Okay. I just wanted to check.
I think Mark had a question.
I don't think so. I don't remember.
Okay. I thought you were waving, but maybe it's just like me seeing either you or Lynn doing something, but maybe that was me. Yeah. Any other thoughts before we continue? Okay, we continue to Act 2, Scene 2. And I don't know where we are. I lost the place in the script. Yeah, there we go.
Enter the country wench's father.
Where shall I seek her now? Oh, if she knew the dangers that attend on women's lives, she'd rather lodge under a poor thatched roof than under carved ceilings. She was my joy and all content that I received from life, my dear and only daughter. What says the note she left? Let me again, with staider grief, peruse it. Father, wonder not at my so sudden departure without your leave or knowledge. Thus, under pardon, I excuse it. Had you had knowledge of it, I know you would have sought to restrain it, and hinder me from what I have long desired. Being now happily preferred to a gentleman's service in London about Holborn, if you please to send, you may hear well of me. As false as she is disobedient. I've made larger inquiry, left no place where gentry keeps unsought, yet cannot hear, which drives me most into a shameful fear. Woe worth the infected cause that makes me visit this man-devouring city, where I spent my unshapen youth to be my age's curse, and surfeited away my name and state in swinish riot, that now, being sober, I do awake a beggar. I may hate her, whose youth voids wine, his age is cursed with water. Oh, heavens, I know the price of ill too well, what the confusions are in whom they dwell, and how soon maids are to their ruins won. 1 minute, and eternally undone. So in mine, may it not be thus. Though she be poor, her honor's precious. Maybe my present form and her fond fear may chase her from me, if her eye should get me. And therefore, as my love and wants advise, I'll serve until I find her in disguise. Such is my care to fright her from base evils. I leave calm state to live amongst you, devils.
And exit the father.
Totally have not seen this device before. Anyway, yeah, and any, I think that's the last scene of our session. So we may proceed with either final thoughts or sort of thoughts on this. I do like how she left the letter. She didn't just sort of vanish. Which is kind
Are we gonna continue with scene 3? I think Robert was saying that we would do that if we had
I've
time.
just been looking into the options that are going on. So, yes, we can sort of crack on into another scene after a little discussion. I have a few additional parts to parcel out to people, which we'll do once you've done a little discussing. Any thoughts you've got here?
Lynn has thoughts.
Yes, yeah. Back to I need a shower. Yeah, so not only do we have this, somewhat naive and innocent country girl who's decided that the glamour of being a courtesan is worth what it's going to cost her. She's sort of been talked into it, but there's not force or coercion going on, so it's just like everyone's really kind of awful. And then her father comes on and starts talking about how my only daughter, and she meant the world to me, and it's just like, oh God, just like stick the knife in and twist it. It's really getting kind of hard to watch for me.
Yeah. Mark?
And we seem to learn that he used to live in the city as a youth, where he surfeited away his name and state in swinish riot. And then he's like, I have nothing now. So I guess he used to live in the city and have a higher status and money than he has now. And now his daughter is also off to the city.
Yeah.
Well,
like in the London Prodigal, we kind of had. I mean, this is a different. We had this device in a different play where a father disguises himself to save his child. Of course, it didn't really work in that play very well because of the way it was set up, but that's different. Aliki.
I think there's something quite nice there about that scene where he's talking about the city as a den of iniquity, and I leave calm state to live amongst you devils, I imagine, straight at the audience. And there's this sort of, frisson of, yes, we are sophisticates, as well as sure, we're probably the kind of place where people get debauched and cheated. I don't know, I like that.
Yeah, it's a good sort of setup as well. And also you kind of see that she's not entirely like she's not an orphan who's been sort of cousined out of a possibility of a life. She kind of she chose it in a way, but didn't. Anyway, discuss. Awkward. weird things. As Lynn said, showers are required. So we will move on to Act 2, Scene 3, with Aliki reading Thomasine. I don't know how that would be pronounced, or Thomasine, I'm guessing. Rachel will read Susan, and I'll be reading an additional boy, and all the other parts will remain as they are.
So, is someone going to read the stage directions?
Act 2, Scene 3. Enter
Sorry.
Thomasine and Mother Gruel.
Were these big words, think you, to be sent to any citizen's wife, to enjoy the daughter and love the mother too for a need? I would foully scorn that man that should love me only for a need, I tell you. And here the knave writes again, that by the marriage of my daughter, I has the better means and opportunity to myself. He lies in his throat like a villain. He has no opportunity of me for all that. 'Tis for his betters to have opportunity of me, and that he shall well know. Base, proud knave, has forgotten how he came up and brought 2 of his countrymen to give their words to my husband for a suit of green kersey. Has forgot all this, and how does he appear to me when his white satin suit's on but like a maggot crept out of a nutshell, a fair body and a foul neck? Those parts that are covered of him looks indifferent well, because we cannot see him. Else, for all his cleansing, pruning, and paring, he's not worthy a broker's daughter, and so tell him.
I will indeed, forsooth.
And as for my child, I hope she shall be ruled in time, though she be foolish yet, and not be carried away with a cast of manchets and a bottle of wine or a custard. And so I pray certify him.
I'll do your errand effectually.
Art thou his aunt or his?
Alas, I am a poor drudge of his.
Faith, and thou art his mother, he would make thee his drudge, I warrant him.
Marry out upon him, sir reverence of your mistressship.
Here, somewhat for thy pains. Fare thee well.
'Tis more than he gave me since I came to him.
Exit Mother Gruel, enter Quomodo and Susan.
How now? What prating have we here? Whispers, dumb shows. Why, Thomasine, go to. My shop is not altogether so dark as some of my neighbours, where a man may be made cuckold at one end while he's measuring with his yard at t'other.
Only commendations sent from Master Lethe, your worshipful son-in-law that should be.
Oh, and that you like not. Not. He that can make us rich in custom, strong in friends, happy in suits, bring us all into all the rooms of Sundays from the leads to the cellar, pop us in with venison till we crack again, and send home the rest in an honorable napkin. This man you like not, forsooth.
But I like him, father.
My blessing go with thy liking.
A number of our citizens hold our credit by it. To come home drink and say, we have been at court. And how much more credit is it to be drunk there indeed?
Tut, thy mother's a fool. Pray, what's Master Rearage whom you plead for so?
Why, first, he is a gentleman.
Aye, he's often first a gentleman that's last a beggar.
My father tells you true. What should I do with a gentleman? I know not which way to lie with him.
'Tis true, too. Thou knowest, beside, we undo gentlemen daily.
That makes so few of them marry with our daughters, unless it be one green fool or another. Next, Master Rearage has land and living, t'other but his walk in the street and his snatching diet. He's able to entertain you in a fair house of his own, t'other in some nook or corner, or place us behind the cloth like a company of puppets. At his house you shall be served curiously, sit down and eat your meat with leisure. There we must be glad to take it standing and without either salt cloth or trencher, and say we are befriended too.
Oh, that gives a citizen a better appetite than his garden.
So say I, father. Methinks it does me good when I take it standing. I know not how all women's minds are.
Enter Falselight.
Faith, I think they're all of thy mind for that thing. How now, Falselight?
I've described my fellow Shortyard, alias Blastfield, at hand with the gentleman.
Oh, my sweet Shortyard. Daughter, get you up to your virginals.
Exit Susan.
By your leave, Mistress Quomodo.
Why, I hope I may sit in the shop, may I not?
That you may, and welcome, sweet honey thigh, but not at this season. There's a buck to be struck.
Well, since I'm so expressly forbidden, I'll watch above in the gallery, but I'll see your knavery.
Exit Thomasine.
Be you prepared, as I tell you.
You ne'er feared me.
Falselight retires.
Oh, that sweet, neat, comely, proper, delicate parcel of land. Like a fine gentleman in the waist, not so great as pretty, pretty. The trees in summer whistling, the silver waters by the banks harmoniously gliding. I should have been a scholar. An excellent place for a student, fit for my son that lately commenced at Cambridge, whom now I've placed at Inns of Court. Thus we that seldom get lands honestly must leave our heirs to inherit our knavery. But whist, one turn about my shop and meet with them.
Enter Easy and Shortyard.
Is this it, sir?
Aye, let me see. This is it. Sign of 3 knaves. 'Tis it.
Do you hear, sir? What lack you, gentlemen? See good kerseys or broadcloths here? Pray, come near. Master Blastfield.
I thought you would know me anon.
Enter Thomasine above.
Oh, you're exceeding welcome to town, sir. Your worship must pardon me. 'Tis always misty weather in our shops here. We are a nation the sun ne'er shines upon. Came this gentleman with you?
Ah, salute him fairly. He's a kind gentleman, a very inward of mine.
Oh, then I cry you mercy, sir. You are especially welcome.
I return you thanks, sir.
But how shall I do for you now, Master Blastfield?
Why, what's the matter?
It is my greatest affliction at this instant I am not able to furnish you.
How, Master Quomodo? Pray, say not so. Slud, you undo me then.
Upon my religion, Master Blastfield, bonds lie forfeit in my hands. I expect the receipt of 1,000 every hour, and cannot yet set eye of a penny.
That's strange, methinks.
'Tis mine own pity that plots against me, Master Blastfield. They know I have no conscience to take the forfeiture, and that makes them so bold with my mercy.
Oh, I am sorry for this.
Nevertheless, if I might entreat your delay but the age of 3 days, to express my sorrow now, I would double the sum and supply you with 400 or 500.
Let me see. 3 days.
Aye, good sir, and it may be possible.
Do you hear, Master Blastfield?
Huh?
You know, I've already invited all the gallants to sup with me tonight.
That's true, i' faith.
It'll be my everlasting shame if I have no money to maintain my bounty.
I ne'er thought upon that. I look still when that should come from him. We have strictly examined our expenses. It must not be 3 days, Master Quomodo.
No? Then I'm afraid 'twill be my grief, sir.
Master Blastfield, I'll tell you what you may do now.
What, good sweet bedfellow?
Send to Master Gum, or Master Prophet, the mercer and goldsmith.
Mass, that was well remembered of thee. I perceive the trout will be a little troublesome ere he be catched. Boy!
Here, sir.
Run to Master Gum, or Master Prophet, and carry my present occasion of money to 'em.
I run, sir.
Methinks, Master Blastfield, you might easily attain to the satisfaction of 3 days. Here's a gentleman, your friend, I dare say, will see you sufficiently possessed till then.
Not I, sir, by no means. Master Blastfield knows I'm further in want than himself. My hope rests all upon him. It stands upon the loss of my credit tonight if I walk without money.
Why, Master Quomodo, what a fruitless motion have you put forth! You might well assure yourself this gentleman had it not if I wanted it. Why, our purses are brothers. We desire but equal fortunes. In a word, we're man and wife. They can but be together, and so do we.
As neat as can be in faith.
And to say truth, 'tis more for the continuing of this gentleman's credit in town than any incitement from mine own wants only, that I covet to be so immediately furnished. You shall hear him confess as much himself.
'Tis most certain, Master Quomodo.
Enter boy.
Ah, here he comes the boy now. How now, boy? What says Master Gum or Master Prophet?
Sir, they're both walked forth this frosty morning to Brainford to see a nurse child.
Ah, bastard be it! Spile and shame!
Nay, never vex yourself, sweet Master Blastfield.
Bewitched, I think.
Do you hear, sir? You can persuade with him?
A little, sir.
Rather than he should be altogether destitute, or be too much vexation to himself, he shall take up a commodity of cloth of me, tell him.
Why, is, by my troth, 'twas kindly spoken.
200 pounds worth, upon my religion, say.
So disastrously.
Nay, Master Blastfield, do you hear what Master Quomodo has said since, like an honest true citizen in faith? Rather than you should grow diseased upon it, you shall take up a commodity of 200 pounds worth of cloth.
The mealy moth consume it! I would he have me turn, would he have me turn peddler now? What should I do with doth?
Cloth.
Cloth.
He's a very willful gentleman at this time, i' faith. Sorry, the script just disappeared. Come back. Where are you? Come on. Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, good grief. Script. Here we are. He's a very willful gentleman at this time, i' faith. He knows as well what to do with it as myself, I wis. There's no merchant in town but will be greedy upon't and pay down money on the nail. They'll dispatch it over to Middlesbrough presently and raise double commodity by exchange. If not, 'tis term time and Michaelmas Term too, the draper's harvest for footcloths, riding suits, walking suits, chamber gowns, and ball gowns.
Nay, I'll say that. It comes in as fit as time can be.
Hey, nay, take me with you again ere you go, sir. I offer him no trash, tell him, but present money, say, where I know some gentlemen in town have been glad and are glad at this time to take up commodities in hawkshoods and brown paper.
So horrible. Are there such fools in town?
I offer him no trash, tell him. Upon my religion, you may say. Now, my sweet Shortyard, now the hungry fish begins to nibble. One end of the worm is in his mouth, i' faith.
Why stand I here, as late our graceless dames that found no eyes, to see that gentleman alive in state and credit, executed, help to rip up himself, does all he can? Why am I wife to him that is no man? I suffer in that gentleman's confusion.
Nay, be persuaded in that, Master Blastfield is ready money at the merchant's. Beside, the winter season, and all falls in as pat as can be to help it.
Well, Master Easy, none but you could have persuaded me to that. Come, would you dispatch then, Master Quomodo? Where's this cloth?
Full and whole within, all of this piece of my religion, Master Blastfield. Feel it, nay, feel it, and spare not, gentlemen, your fingers and your judgment.
Cloth's good.
By my troth, exceeding good cloth, a good whale 'twas.
Falselight,
No, the shop, sir.
go. Call up in a porter presently, carry away the cloth with the star mark. Whither will you please to have it carried, Master Blastfield?
Faith to Master Beggarland. He's the only merchant now. Or his brother, Master Stilliard Down. There's little difference.
You've happened upon the money men, sir. They and some of their brethren, I can tell you, will not stick to offer £30,000 to be cursed still. Great moneyed men, their stocks lie in the poor's throats. But you'll see me sufficiently discharged, Master Blastfield, ere you depart.
You have always found me righteous in that.
Falselight,
Sir?
you may bring a scrivener along with you.
I'll remember that, sir.
Exit Falselight.
And that's where we're gonna call it for today. And just because this scene is going to go even longer and longer, and we'll probably forget the rest of the scene by tomorrow. But
Yeah.
any thoughts on what's happened so far? Also, I feel like it's hard to keep track of who's trying to pull one over the other person. Yeah, there are so many plots going on. Like in terms of like who's trying to plot against, like they're trying to fool Easy, but then they're also trying to fool, like, sort things out with Rearage and all that stuff. And Lois then Alan, then Lynn.
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, the full trick isn't going to become apparent until I think the scrivener gets there. But the idea is really going to be, I think, to get Easy thinks he's helping Blastfield, who is really Shortyard, to get money through commodities, which means essentially that instead of money, he's given a lot of goods, which he's then got to sell to get the money, which of course are not going to be worth anything like what he's told they're worth. But in fact, it's not going to be Shortyard, but Easy, who ends up signing for all of this by some sort of fiddle. I think they're going to get him into the bond or something. I mean, these financial transactions are incredibly complicated, but so Easy's going to be an even worse mess than he was to start with.
Then Alan, then Aliki, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
And
we've
then-
got this repeated line from Quomodo swearing by his religion. And I'm just wondering whether there is an anti-Semitic undercurrent going on in this bit. With the usual caricature of the cloth, the rag trade and money lending.
I don't know.
Well,
Thoughts
there
in the room.
there couldn't be really. I mean, he's no known Jews, I think, were practicing in London, and I think he's a Puritan. I mean, it's caricature of the typical city person who's puritanical and holier than thou, but of course just out for money.
Aliki, then Lynn.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about who was and who wasn't practicing at the time, but I didn't read it that way. I just read it as hypocrisy. Why, as I'm an honest man, I promise, by my virtue, that kind of.
Lynn.
Yeah, I don't think Quomodo is supposed to be Jewish or even sort of crypto Jewish, because it's his daughter that everybody wants to marry, and that kind of militates against that. And Jews were moneylenders, professional moneylenders, but I don't think in this period that they were usually textile merchants. But what I was gonna say is just sort of a footnote. It's always really fascinating to me as a former costume designer how important textiles and clothing are in so many of these plays. I mean, the country wench says that what she wants to go like a gentlewoman, which means appear in public dressed as a gentlewoman. It's all about the clothing. And like early in the play, we mentioned two people who are in, I don't know exactly what these words mean now, but a mercer and a draper are both people involved in the textile and clothing industry, and Quomodo's the mercer. So, and a bolt of cloth is basically fungible goods. It's like you can sell it to somebody because they can resell it to somebody else. Oh, and it's wool. Cloth is always wool. And winter's coming on, so that's good because people are going to need to dress warmly. It's just, I think it's just the economic reality of clothing wears out, and it's extremely labor intensive to produce before the Industrial Revolution. So it has a kind of unique place in the economy of London at the time because everybody's got to have clothes. Clothes don't last forever. They like the way, say, a building or furniture would. And it's extremely labor intensive to produce.
Yeah.
Well,
I
yes,
think
thank
Rob
you
has come back
to
into-
Sarah and Eric for keeping everything moving along, even when I make a mess of who's reading what. Final thoughts from around the room before we close the session. I'll go to Sarah first. As you've been dancing around, I've heard in the distance people talking about clarity issues and also what this is saying. How's it bouncing along for you? Any final thoughts?
It's bouncing quite fast and high, I think. I mean, yeah, there are clarity issues, but I don't think there isn't anything that, a 3-line précis in the program, and the blurb on the advertising poster wouldn't sort out. The thing is, we come into these sessions completely blind, like completely cold, but most people who go to the theatre have at least an inkling of what they're going to see. And I think the combination of that with then the fact, once it's actually staged, you've got these people with these slightly strange names. It's like who is who. It does get a bit confusing, but I think, it's the usual thing when they're actually on stage and costumed and they're playing, their very specific roles. I don't think people would have problems following what's going on. They might not get all the intricacies, but they'd certainly be able to get the main gist of, like, this is a con, this is the guy who's being conned, this is the guy who's conning him. And then on the other side, the other side of the plot, this is the wench who's been seduced, or she's been conned as well. This is who she's been passed along to. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of awful. It's very satirical, it's very cynical, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It, like Lynn keeps saying, she needs to go and take a shower, and I know exactly what she means, because there is some real ickiness in this, but I'm going to reserve judgment because it depends on how it all works out.
As ever, we've hit
As
that
ever.
question. How's the playwright going to land all these
Exactly.
these cards? Because the how they end up, you can set them all moving, but if they don't land in the right way, you've got nowhere to go. And it is this thing about, talking about cons, in the sense that this is actually an incredibly complicated con, and no spoilers here. It's going to go on a lot longer, even longer than the scene. This is a rolling, very complicated series of financial transactions that I suspect even in the day people probably wouldn't follow it all of. And there is an interesting question of how much the audience is expected to understand, so long as they see the ball is still rolling and they're with that, and they can see the mechanics of the con even if they don't understand the financial mechanisms, then it's fine. So yeah, and there are modern analogues, I think, for some of that as well. Rachel, any final thoughts?
Well, I've read the play before, but long enough ago that I don't remember it, and I'm finding it very confusing. Everyone's tricking everyone else, and I think that's my overriding sense, is that everyone is about to had the wool pulled over their eyes, and so I find it difficult to keep track of who's who and who's plotting against whom.
I think that's where the visual dimension will really help. It's a text thing, isn't it? As much of the problem of there, knowing, especially when we're doubling to an extreme as well, when you've got two people, two characters read by the same person who have very different agendas. Aliki, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite enjoying it. Maybe I'm just a cynical person, but I rather like all of the terrible goings on, even though I don't understand the financial ones at all. I also kind of dispute the everyone. I'm not sure that Easy is doing much of anything wrong to anyone. He's just a bit silly and young. And Thomasine seems a good sort. Having just read her, I'm all for Thomasine. We'll see if that plays out.
Oh, so many adventures to come. In so many interesting directions this play will take us. Mark, any final thoughts?
Shortyard is a really fun role. I could see, like, acting in a production of this play, I could really enjoy playing this character who is playing a character of, the devil on the shoulder, but, like, acting like he's the best friend of just, like, oh, the cool kids gamble, and I love that he, seemingly just makes up like, oh boy, sent to Master Gum. Oh no, Master Prophet. Oh, you know what, Quomodo. And then Easy's like, oh wow, you have so many people who would give you money. And then, of course, that comes back in this scene where Shortyard and Quomodo are like, oh no, we can't get any money right now. This is clearly part of our plan. And then Easy's like, oh, what about Master Gum and Master Prophet? Go ask them. And then Shortyard's like, okay, how do I get through this? So I think Shortyard's one of them. I see several roles in this that I think would be really fun as an actor to play in a production so far.
Yeah, I quite like that idea of actually how much have they planned in advance, or how much do they just assume he's going to be really good at playing. Okay, here are your roles. It's a 2-minute game. Off you go. See you in a bit. Or whether it's just what they always do, and he's got a set series of costumes off stage that he always uses. I mean, there's a lot of play that could be had with that. Briefly, Sarah.
Well, also shout out to the boy. Because if he wasn't really quick-witted and obviously hadn't done this kind of thing before, that the whole con could have fallen down right there and then, because he could have just gone, who? Who are Master Gum and Master Prophet? But he didn't. He was like, oh yeah. And off he goes, and then he comes back 5 minutes later. Oh yeah, no, they've gone to Braintree. He is really basically the genius behind the whole thing.
The thing about the boy is he's just the cynicism is just world weariness of the boy of just going, I have been through this so many times, and it's like, I've got no agency here, so I've just got to follow the flow. And I'd like to meet this boy when older. I'm curious to see what this education does. Lynn, any final thoughts?
Yeah, well, good. I was just thinking that you could play the boy in a way that it's clear that this is just a routine that they go through. There is no Master Prophet. There is no Master God. Like, oh yeah, okay. And then stage it. So he goes off stage where the other characters, the convention is obvious that they're not supposed to be able to see him. But he's like leaning on a post going, la da 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 da. Is it long enough now? Okay, I'm going back. So, I mean, I think you can make it really clear that it's a done thing between the guy and his page, and there are no.
You almost want to revolve as they're doing the scene at the front, and you go around the back and you see them doing the change in the costumes and getting ready, and then back on again. That would be quite fun. Yeah. Excessive for the number of times you'd need it in this show, but could be quite fun to do. Lois, who's seen this live as well. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, that's one of the things I most remember actually about the Edwards Boys production, was the effect of these really small boys playing some of these roles, and they seemed always to be the commentators too on the actions of the bigger boys, and it was really quite funny. These little kids being so cynical. That's probably one of my main memories of this scene. Also, just the effect of the costumes. It was done in modern dress, as they usually do, but. The costumes really did help a lot, get a sense of what these people were like, because of course they were very caricatured.
And of course they had the advantage of being able to have a large cast, so you could always pretty much know who anyone was. There wasn't really any major doubling going on to confuse you as to who was who. Alan, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of tropes in here that we've seen in other plays, but I'm not sure, because we've not been working through the drama that we've done in strict chronological order. there do seem to be a number of features in here which we've seen in maybe in the city comedies, but I'm not sure whether this was a precursor to that or whether it's very much part of the zeitgeist of that period.
It's sort of it's very much in the middle of a number of texts, but it's following some as well. Yeah, you will notice some things possibly later on that you'll go, that looks familiar. But yeah, I mean the general shape, yeah, it's a city comedy. You know, it's doing all of the things. It's being very, very time and place specific in that sense as well. Very briefly, Lynn, and then back to over to Eric.
Yeah, another thing that occurred to me while I was thinking is that, you know, in the sort of classic new comedy, the ingenue is in love with her, with her intended. I mean, she's got someone that she loves, and he's usually, you know, poor but honest, and it's the opposite. I mean, I think that's really interesting that Middleton has turned that convention inside out. Even Susan wants who she wants because of prestige, because he'll bring her prestige. Not because she loves him, because he's handsome, because he's sweet, because he's a good person. No. So like, yeah, it's hard to find someone to root for so far.
Well, I say, do we need to? Do we just watch them go through their little dances as our special meat puppets of entertainment? Eric, any final thoughts?
Meat puppets, really? Yeah, no, I think the reason I kept getting sort of confused is because there is a lot of stuff, but it's also that thing of when you stage it, obviously it will be more clear who's talking to whom. So like in the sort of dice playing scene, you would know that like sort of Lethe is still playing with the, you know, sort of Rearage and Salewood, whereas Shortyard and the others are sort of outside of that, but watching that game and how they would interact on stage and stuff. So yeah, I feel like obviously visually it would be a lot clearer. I do like though how sort of you get the two mothers together, the mother-in-laws or whatever you want to call them, Thomasine and Mother Gruel. And like sort of, yeah, even if you were his mother, he'd still make a drudge of you. Clearly, you get like all these little moments of sort of characters knowing things that they don't really know. But yeah, I don't know. It's I'm enjoying it aside from like the creepy bits. But I do like Thomasine's like first speech where he's like, he's not worthy of Broker's daughter. I hadn't worked out that was her, not her daughter. Because obviously her daughter is a mercer's daughter. So yeah, I don't know. It takes a while to work out the sort of financial stuff. But otherwise, I feel like her description of, you know, he'll and how does he appear to me when his white satin suit's on, but a maggot crept out of a nutshell is just, it's an amazing description.
Yes, it's a play that there are certain things that we may struggle with in the reading room because of the lack of visuals as to who certain people are at certain times. That, you know, I'm not worried about being confused. I think it is a case that the producers of a show like this need to understand how the con functions themselves. How much an audience is going to get that is to the lap of the gods to a degree. There's only so much perhaps you can get across, but the production has to understand the mechanics and effectively try and demonstrate it, because that's where I think the fun lies as well, is in the mechanics and the complexity. Even if you don't understand why they're always doing all of these things, that you know it's a con, that you know that they're putting effort into doing it, should be something that keeps the audience going. I think there are plenty of elements of this where, yeah, deciding precisely how to get the clarity and decide what is allowed to be confusing and what shouldn't be allowed to be confusing is one of those major things. One final question for the room before I shut the session. Was there anyone here that you didn't feel were very necessary or perhaps could be elided? Were there it's a big cast. And I wonder whether there's some tweaking that could be done. Sarah?
Just based on the bit we've read today, I think the guy I was playing, Cockstone, I think he could go. I mean, because he was only really in that first, well, not the first scene, not the term scene, but the opening scene of the actual play. And he was just like one of the gallants who was just kind of hanging around and introducing everybody to each other. And I'm pretty sure they could probably find another way to be introduced to each other through a different person. So I think, yeah, unless he comes back, of course he might. But
well, this is always the problem at this stage. But I'm just putting the seed in everyone's minds as we go on of actually, is our journey really necessary for some of these people? Lois.
Well, I was wondering about Salewood, and for the same reason, really. I mean, I think he's either called that because he's selling the woods on his estate because he's broke, or because he would sell if he could, or something. Because I know in Restoration comedy, quite often would at the end of a name means they would like to be whatever the first half of the name is. But at any rate, so far, he, except presumably you just need a lot of gallants hanging around to create that kind of critical mass that puts pressure on Easy to behave the way he does.
But are they, in that sense, characters who need a name and or are they just figures who are there who can and easily double with other people and elide in different ways? Rachel, then Eric, then.
I was also going to suggest Salewood, and perhaps the gentlemen, the gallants, can be collapsed into one.
Eric, and then Mark.
I was just going to say that I think like the country wench's father, okay, obviously he'll probably reappear, but you could double him with other people, with the use of early modern disguises and the beard, maybe. Or
We've got to be a bit careful with a play that has people disguising themselves. To be clear that we're not having disguises; they're just someone playing somebody else. But it's a good point. Mark, Lynn, then we will close the session.
So far, I think Falselight and the boy could be conflated, but all depends on how the show goes.
Lynn.
I was just going to say what you said, Rob. You have to be careful with doubling so that it's really clear to your audience that these are two separate characters, not the same character in different clothes.
The disguises need to be sort of signpostedly shit. In that sense.
Or maybe the doubling makeup and costume so good that even the audience doesn't quite recognize the actor. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, that's a challenge for us in the future. We will return to this for another session in some fashion. All that remains to thank all the wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone. Ta-ta.